Hi, boys and girls. It's great to be back with you again today. It's good to see you. Wait, I can't see you. You can see me. I think your teachers should send us a photo of you so we know who we're teaching and what you look like. I think that would be nice if they did that. Well, we've been learning that the Bible is the history book of the universe. And we have studied 7 major events that have affected the world. Do you remember what they are? Let's try them together. Creation, God made me and everything. Corruption, catastrophe, confusion, Christ, cross, and consummation. Let's see if we can kind of summarize what happened in each of these events. Remember, in creation, God created the universe in 6 days, and it was very good. And in corruption, it changed from very good to bad when Adam disobeyed. The continued disobedience of Adam's descendants resulted in God's judgment, and there was a global flood. Many of the rock layers and fossils we find today are a result of that catastrophe. And today, Miss Fran is going to come and teach us about confusion.
Good morning. Thank you, boys and girls, for coming. And we're going to start in, like she said, we're going to talk about confusion. Now, do any of you speak another language other than English? I know a few words, and I'm sure if you don't know another language, you've heard other languages around you. Now, in this lesson, we're going to learn why we have different languages. I'm going to start with reading Genesis 8:14 through 19 and the first verse of chapter 9. And in the 2nd month, on the 27th day of the month, the earth was dried. Then God spoke to Noah, saying, "Go out of the ark, you and your wife, and your sons wives with you. Bring out with you every living thing of all flesh that is with you, birds and cattle, and every creeping thing that creeps on the earth, so that they may abound on the earth, and be fruitful and multiply on the earth." So Noah went out, and his sons, and his wife, and his sons' wives with him. Every animal, every creeping thing, every bird, and whatever creeps on the earth, according to their families, went out of the ark. Chapter 9, verse 1. So God blessed Noah and his sons and said to them, "Be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth." Now, what command did God give Noah in these verses? Yes, he told them to be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. Now, do you think Noah and his family, who had just come out of the ark, been saved from the watery catastrophe, do you think they're going to listen to Noah and obey God? We'll have to see about that. I'm going to go to Genesis chapter 11 and read the first 4 verses. See if you think that they listened. Now the whole earth had one language and one speech. And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, that they found a large, flat area of land in Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said to one another, "Come, let us make bricks and bake them thoroughly." They had brick for stone, and they had asphalt for mortar. And they said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city and a tower whose top is in the heavens. Let us make a name for ourselves, lest we be scattered over the earth, the face of the whole earth." Now, did that sound like they obeyed? Did they scatter themselves all over the earth? No, they didn't. What did they do instead? Well, you know what they did? They built a tower. that would keep them together so that they wouldn't be scattered on the earth. Now, some people believe the tower may have looked like this. Now, rather than using the tower to honor God who made the heavens, they used it to worship the heavens themselves. Do you think this pleased God? No, I don't think it did. We read in Exodus about the 10 Commandments, the first of which says to have no other gods before God, to worship him alone. And over in Deuteronomy, he tells them, do not worship any idols in the form of man or animals, and do not worship the heavens. Now, can you think of people today who worship the stars? They're called astrologers. And people who read horoscopes looking for guidance and direction rather than trusting God. It's good for us to learn about the universe and the stars and the solar system, but we need to remember that God is the one who created it all and give him the glory for his creation. Now, I want to read on a little further in Genesis 11, reading verses 5 through 9. But the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the sons of men had built. And the Lord said, indeed, the people are one, and they all have one language, and this is what they begin to do now. Nothing that they propose to do will be withheld from them. Come, let us go down and there confuse their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So the Lord scattered them abroad from there over the face of the earth, and they ceased building the city. So why did God confuse their language? It was so they wouldn't be able to understand each other. And when the parts of the world, God used this method to get the people to stop building the tower and to carry out his command to fill the earth. They couldn't continue building because they couldn't understand one another. They didn't know what the other wanted them to do. Here's a picture of a map, and you see the star on the map? That's where the tower probably was located, somewhere in the country of Iraq. From this point, the different family groups spread out. Genesis 10 gives us a list of the names of the fathers of some of the different families of Shem, Ham, and Japheth, Noah's sons. Adam and Eve were the first two people, and they had sons and daughters who multiplied and filled the earth. Then Noah and his family were the only ones left on the earth. His children multiplied and filled the earth and eventually became the various family groups we have today. This means that everyone on earth is related. I'm related to you, and you're related to me. No matter what we look like, we are all children of Adam. To close today's session, I want to read Genesis 11, verses 7 and 8. Come, let us go down and there confuse their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So the Lord scattered them abroad from there over the face of the earth, and they ceased building the city.